We need to find out the value of the given trigonometric expression. Let us begin. First, what we will do, we'll try to find out the value of each of the individual trigonometric ratio. Let us begin with cosine of 570 degrees. Now what we can do, we can rewrite 570 degrees as a multiple of 90 degrees. So let's say if we have 6 times 90 degrees, so that's 540 degrees. Now we are still short of 30 degrees. We will add 30 degrees to it, and this corresponds to 570 degrees. The reason why we are using this method, because now we have an even multiple of 90 degrees. Now we know for a fact that whenever we have an even multiple of 90 degrees, then cosine of 6 times 90 plus 30 degree is going to have the same value as cosine of 30 degrees, meaning the cosine function is not going to change. For an even multiple, the cosine is going to remain as cosine, but we'll also have to take care of the sine. For that, we need the quadrant system. Let's do that. We have a quadrant system divided into 4 quadrants. Here we have 6 times 90 degree. So 6 times 90 degree corresponds to the 6th quadrant, meaning we are in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 quadrants is actually the 2nd quadrant. But we are also adding an angle 30 degrees to it, which is going to take us to the 3rd quadrant. So 6 times 90 degree plus 30, which is actually 570 degrees, is lying in the 3rd quadrant. And in the 3rd quadrant, only the tangent and the cotangents are positive. Everything else is negative. So we're going to get a negative value. We have negative cosine of 30 degrees, and that corresponds to a value negative square root of 3 over 2. Fine, we'll keep this aside. Now we'll try to find out the value of sine 510 degrees. So we have sine 510 degrees, which will be equals to sine. So we have 6 times 90 degrees. Now this time, so we have 540 degrees, which is exceeding 510 by 30 degrees. So we subtract 30 from it. And now we have sine, an even multiple of 90 degrees minus 30 degrees. So even multiple means sine is going to remain as sine. A new angle will be 30 degrees. And we're going to lie in the 6th quadrant, which means we are in the 2nd quadrant, but we are subtracting 30 from it. Earlier we added 30 to it. This time we're subtracting 30 from it. So 30 degree, also it's an angle less than 90 degrees. So that means the overall value, which is 510, is going to still lie in the 2nd quadrant. Now in the 2nd quadrant, sine and cosecant are positive. So that means we're going to get a positive value. So this value will be 1 over 2 or half. Now coming to the 3rd one, we have sine negative 330 degrees. Here we will be using a fact that whenever we have sine negative theta, we can express it in terms of its allied angle, which is going to be positive theta, as negative times sine theta. So using this fact, we're going to get negative sine 330 degrees. Now 330 degrees, this can be also expressed as negative sine 4 times 90 degrees, so that's 360 degrees, and we subtract 30 degrees to get 330 degrees, which will be equals to negative. So we have an even multiple of 90 degrees, so sine will remain as sine, so we have sine 30 degrees. So this minus comes from the original problem. Now we have to look at the sine. So we are in the 4th quadrant. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in the 4th quadrant, only the cosine and the secant are positive. Everything else is negative. So we have negative of negative sine 30, which corresponds to positive sine 30 degree, and this gives us a value positive half. And then now we have to find out the value of cosine negative 390 degree. So let's do that here. So we have cosine of negative 390 degrees. Now this time this will be positive cosine of 390 degrees, meaning we have used the fact that cosine of negative theta, that corresponds to positive cosine theta. Now we can express cosine of 390 degrees as cosine of 4 times 90, so that's 360 degrees plus 30 degrees, which means we have cosine an even multiple of 90 degrees, so we're going to get cosine 30 degrees. Now we are in the 4th quadrant. 4 times 90 corresponds to the 4th quadrant, but we are adding 30 degrees to it, which will take us to the 1st quadrant. And in the 1st quadrant, all trig functions are positive. So we have positive cosine 30 degree, and this corresponds to value positive square root of 3 over 2. Now what we'll do, we'll substitute this value into our given expression. So let's do that. So this entire expression now corresponds to So we have cosine of 570 degrees, so that's negative square root of 3 over 2. Multiply to sine 510, so that's positive half. Then we have sine negative 330 degrees, so this corresponded to a value of positive half. So we have positive half multiplied to cosine of negative 390 degrees, corresponding to positive square root of 3 over 2. So this adds up to give us 0. So that means the value of this expression is actually 0, a very simple value.